I do think that there is something to be said for what Joe Kent has done, the impact that his decision is having because of the reaction that has been coming left and right from the powers that be, the people that are currently in control of the levers of power, and the reaction that they have brought in regards to how do we deal with somebody who is a Green Beret who served 10 tours and his wife, first wife, was murdered by ISIS. Here's what we do. We send out people like Jonathan Greenblatt.
Joe Kent, who resigned yesterday in a very public letter from his position as the head of the National Center for Counterterrorism. ADL opposed his nomination a year ago because of his white supremacist and extremist ties. He'd engaged.
Oh, this is the pot calling the kettle black.
As if we couldn't see this coming.
White supremacist.
Yeah, because we didn't see this coming. Like this, what other card were they going to play?
Is it me, or does Greenblatt resemble that little mushroom? I feel like his head kind of resembles that little mushroom. Look again, look. I'm thinking. All right.
There's really something to be said about these bald, nebbish Zio Jews. Like, they really all look alike. They just do.
Pathetic and weak and mealy and cowardly. And he exists only because of this position that he's basically put himself in, where he gets to be like the arbiter of what is anti-Semitic. Somehow he is the arbiter of anti-Semitism.
Oh, yeah. Well, Mr. Pink,
a man who's not even a Semite, mind you.
No, he's very Eastern European.
Anti-Semitic rhetoric long before he was nominated. So when this person publishes a letter saying, I'm resigning because Israel pulled us into the war, Iran didn't pose a threat.
And so my question to you is, do you look at that and say that is an anti... This is the question. Is his decision and his letter, in your mind, a protest of the war and what Israel as a country politically is doing?
Yeah.
Or do you look at that and say, he's an anti-Semite and he doesn't like Jews? This is what I think is the fundamental question.
Right. Well, look, let's talk about it. So you can say, I oppose this war on some grounds, but to blame Jews or the Jewish state for the war? He testified in his conference.
Wait, see, but he just did it right there for anybody who's not paying attention. Right there. Every other sentence when they talk about Israel is calling it the Jewish state, the Jewish state, the Jewish state. They keep doing it over and over. He will fit that into every other sentence. And so when you say that somebody's criticizing the Jewish state, it makes it easier to sound like they're criticizing Jews, right? That's why he has to keep doing that, and specifically right here.
And of course, this is, like I said, this has been the universal response from virtually every person, because they all get the talking point. They all get the same talking point. It doesn't matter that he served this country as honorably as anybody would who volunteered for military service. Now, you can have your opinion that it wasn't any just wars. And of course, I agree. But here's the thing about warfare, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why I've always said that my hero is Teddy Roosevelt, because even if you don't agree with somebody about their position on war, if they're willing to die for what they believe in, then they deserve respect. Jonathan Greenblatt wants you to die for his safety. He doesn't give a damn about you, and he sure as shit would never put himself in harm's way to die for what he believes in. He wants you to die for what he believes in. Joe Kent, on the other hand, would die for what he believes in. And now he's trying to save the American people from World War III with Iran and much, much worse. So Greenblatt has to smear him because he is an aider and abettor to the state of Israel, period.
Information hearing a year ago that the Islamic Republic of Iran and their proxies were threatening American service members. Yesterday, he says, there was no threat at all. What's the difference? So we know that the Islamic Republic of Iran has murdered more Americans perhaps than any other sovereign government over the last 40 years. Killed American service members, diplomats, civilians in Lebanon, in Iraq, in Saudi Arabia, all over the Middle East. So to suddenly say, whoa, 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 they didn't pose a threat, they weren't a danger to us.
Right.
It's just the Jews who made us do this. I mean, come on. President Trump, you can like him or dislike him, but he does exactly what he wants to do. And I appreciate that about him, even if I don't agree with everything that he does.
Oh, he agrees with everything he does because you tell him what to do and he listens. In addition, people who denigrate service members, especially ones that didn't serve themselves, you're the biggest fucking cowards alive. Like you
that's a big yeah. I mean, people like him are just so cowardly and mealy and pathetic. And again, I cannot stress this enough. There is a level of compensation, okay, that a lot of these men are dealing with. And it's just that simple. There's a level of compensation that we're dealing with. Not to mention the fact that these are very miserable people. See, these are miserable, unhappy people, and they want everyone else to be miserable and unhappy too.
Here's an interesting turn about I'm not even going to call it about fair play, but Colin, I need the article, please. So it turns out that it's not just enough to go after Joe Kent. They also have to go after his wife, Heather Kaiser, who has wrote for a left-leaning outlet whose editor reportedly received payments from supposedly sanctioned Iranian broadcaster. Who is it that Joe Kent's wife, Heather Kaiser, happens to write for? Max Blumenthal at the Gray Zone. Now that's an interesting layer. Now you have to wonder that because of the fact that the Gray Zone is a true journalist organization that is adamantly anti-war, especially when it comes to anything related to the U.S. and Israel, that perhaps his wife changed his mind about a number of issues? Is that possible?
Well, I think it's a weird I said to you before when you told me this, that I find it to be an interesting conflict position for the wife of the head of counterterrorism to be writing for the Gray Zone. That just seemed to me to be a little bit complex. So
Heather
I'm
Kaiser,
not exactly sure. Yeah.
Heather Kaiser, wife of Joe Kent, has supported her husband following Kent's resignation as director of the U.S. National Counterterrorism Center over his objections to the ongoing Iran war. On social media platform X, Kaiser reposted and pinned Kent's resignation message. This led some social media users to speculate about her influence on Kent's political views. Keep scrolling. Kent announced his resignation in a letter addressed to the Donald, I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war, etc. So she married Kent in 2023, following his unsuccessful campaigns for Congress in 2022. Scroll down. Not up, down. There you go. Kaiser has written for the Gray Zone in 2023, a publication founded in 2015 by Max Blumenthal. The outlet is known for its anti-war stance and has frequently published content critical of Israel and U.S. foreign policy. According to a 2024 report written by Joseph Menn in the Washington Post, the website's managing editor reportedly received payments from Iran's state-run broadcaster Press TV, which was sanctioned by the U.S. back in 2021. Many of its articles strike a leftist tone. Oh, you think so? And its coverage has been positive towards Russia, Syria, and other authoritarian states because, of course, the Washington Post would say such a thing. Beyond her writing, Kaiser is a visual artist with a background in military service who rejects the use of AI in her work. Good for her. Stating that all of my artwork is original. And in her website says that she does not now and never have used AI in any form. She served nearly 11 years in active duty in the U.S. military, including deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan before leaving the service in 2018. Later pursued full-time, working as a photographer assistant, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, listen, that type of stuff I think is very relevant. I do think it's possible that she has had a positive effect on him in the sense that maybe, just maybe, people have an opportunity to evolve on their political positions, including somebody who put their life on the line for many years in combat zones like Joe Kent did. And now he's trying to sound the alarm about how much worse this can get if we don't do something about it now. And we agree. So this is the letter that Joe Kent wrote to the President of the United States, his resignation letter. It's not long, but it pretty much hits on the points that one would expect to hear. Colin, can I have that letter, please?
Before we start, Colin, if you're capable of being visible and you're decent, can you just come on and say hi? People are concerned about your safety and they would like proof of life.
I'll tell you when to come out of the dungeon.
No, I feel bad. Like these people think like somehow we're hiding Colin somewhere. Colin.
No.
Okay.
Funnily enough, I need a second to actually turn my camera on. It's a
See
whole
that?
thing.
Here's Colin, everybody. Colin is here. He's all good.
Tied up. He's tied up, but he gets fed 3 meals a day. All right, 2 meals a day. I'm not lying.
Everybody, we're gonna get to see. Everyone's gonna get to. There's Colin.
There we go.
Everybody, say hi to Colin.
Mostly not AI.
No, he's real. I've met Colin in person. If I never met him in person, I wouldn't know, but I have met him in person. So.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, get back in the dungeon where you belong.
All right, go back in your dungeon, Colin. All right, everybody happy now. Colin is free.
From the former director of National Intelligence, National Counterterrorism Center, President Trump, after much reflection, I have decided to resign from my position as director of the National Counterterrorism Center, effective today. I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. I support the values and the foreign policies that you campaigned on in 2016, 2020, 2024, which you enacted in your first term. Until June of 25, you understood that the wars in the Middle East were a trap that robbed America of the precious lives of our patriots and depleted the wealth and prosperity of our nation. In your first administration, you understood better than any modern president how to decisively apply military power without getting us drawn into never-ending wars. You demonstrated this by killing Qasem Soleimani and by defeating ISIS. Again, licking his nutsack doesn't do you any favors.
Agreed, Andrea. Agreed. I thought the same thing. It's like he had to compliment something that wasn't even complimentable.
Early in the administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. This echo chamber, and that should you strike now, there was a clear path to a swift victory. This was a lie, and it's the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war that cost our nation the lives of thousands of our both men and women. We cannot make this mistake again. As a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times and as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people, nor justifies the cost of American lives. I pray that you will reflect upon what we are doing in Iran and who we are doing it for. The time for bold action is now. You can reverse course and chart a new path for our nation, or you can allow us to slip further toward decline and chaos. You hold the cards. It was an honor to serve in your administration, to serve our great nation.
Okay, so thoughts are like what I said at the beginning. It's like, but he still felt the need to like praise him for what this is someone who took a job with an administration that has been under investigation with a president who's been impeached twice. And so now all of a sudden is having, some sort of he's having some sort of like break of conscience. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, and also, is it not just that maybe he did that because Tulsi doesn't have the sack to do it? She's a whole other disappointing situation to begin with. So maybe the compromise was, well, I don't know. Because where the hell is Tulsi?
Well, like I said, well, Tulsi, of course, gave the very milquetoast response that, you know, it's not intelligence job to make decisions. It's the president's. Okay, so
no, it's exactly your job, lady. And here's the thing: any presidential ambitions can be kissed goodbye by her, because she has now sufficiently pissed off all the sides.